Hello everyone, and welcome to another tutorial of how to make a game like Agar.io. In this video we will make a mass boost that will increase the size of our player. Let's start by creating a new C# script for the mass boost. Then double-click on it to open it in Visual Studio. Delete the two methods start and update, and as we did in the previous video, we will use the onCollisionEnter method. And to test if it working, check if the collision object have a player tag. Then we will destroy our game object. Now let's create the graphic of the mass boost item. Create a new empty game object and reset the transform. Then create a 2D circle inside of it. We will give it the same sprite that we gave our speed up item. Just rotate it with 90 degrees on the Z so it will look fine for a mass boost item, and also change its color so the player will notice that there is a difference between those two items. It look way too big, so we will change its scale to 0.2 or 0 pointer. Add a circle collider for the item. And change the radius for a low value, so the player will need to come closer to interact with it. Then add the new C# script that we have just created. Now if you go and play, the item will be destroyed once the player interact with it. Drag it a little bit on the Z, so it won't cover our player. And now we want to increase the player size. To do that we will need a float variable, and in the collision method, we will increase the player size by saying transform.localScale is plus equals to a new vector 3, and put the mass variable. We are increasing the item scale by saying transform. We should give the collision.gameObject.transform. Those mistakes happen. So now if you go into Unity and play, the player scale will be increased once the player interact with the item, but it look kind of jumpy. So we going to fix that now. Let's go back into Visual Studio. Create a game object variable for our player. This player will be the ones who interact with the item, and instead of giving the mass directly, we will give the player and make a new update method, then check inside of it. If the player is not equals to null, means if the player have interacted with the item, then we will increase his local scale by saying player.transform.localScale is plus equals to a new vector 3, and put time.delta time for the x, y, and z. That will smooth it, and we will subtract our mass variable with time.delta time. Then we will check if the mass was less than or equals to 0, we will destroy the item. But we are already destroying the item in the collision method, so instead of destroying it here, we will disable some components. We want to disable our circle collider, so this method won't be triggered again and again. And we will disable our sprite renderer, but the sprite renderer exists in a children object, so instead of getComponent, we will put getComponent in children, of type sprite renderer. .enabled is equals to false. That is it. If you go into Unity and test it, you will see that it will be working smoothly. You might get some errors of dividing. When the player interact with a virus, it happen when a player scale is less than 1, and he collides with a virus. To fix that, go into Visual Studio, inside of the virus script, in the collision method. We can check if the player scale was less than 1, then we will return, or we will increase its size to see more explosions into the game. I love to see that. Collision.GameObject.transform.local_scale is equals to, and here you can put any size you want. You can actually put a variable for that, but I am just going to put 2. Now go into Unity and test it. Pause game, and decrease one of player ball size. When it interact with the virus, there will be no error. Perfect. Now go and make a prefab for our new item. That is all for this video. If you have found the content useful, please like and subscribe to help us, and ring that notification button so you won't miss the future ones. Without further ado, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.